Joe, I know you're excited. You know why you're excited? Because I'm going to talk golf. Are you ready to talk golf? Oh, did you think just because we're moving to this YouTube podcast thing that we weren't going to talk golf? Absolutely not. We are all in on the golf. Maybe it unleashes a new golf appreciation here on the show, right? So here's the long and short of it, right? Last week, 2A Golf Mideast Regional Match. This is part of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association Championships, which are actually this week. But the lead-ups, the regional match, Midway High School, their leader, Logan Atkins, defending state champ, shot a 76. This is from the Sampson Independent out in Clinton. He shot a 76, earning third place and good enough to send him back to the state games to defend his title, as well as Midway as a squad in search of their second school title. However, problems with the scorecard signed by Atkins and his playing partner. While both reading a final score of 76 for Atkins, they did not match. It wasn't until the scorecards were signed and submitted that Atkins noticed that his playing partner had incorrectly scored one hole. The total scores had been added correctly, but Atkins felt he needed to report the error. The North Carolina High School Athletic Association disqualified Atkins, nullifying his scores, and had also qualified Midway to compete as a team, thus disqualifying them from state competition as well. This, of course, has led to some online scuttlebutt, and the North Carolina High School Athletic Association straight up says, well, these are USGA rules. Joe, you know me. I am not a golf aficionado, but when I see incorrect scorecard signage, even I know, like that's one of the golden rules of golf: honesty, being upfront, being correct. And there have been some really brutal situations on the pro level where these incorrect scorecards or somebody catching somebody doing something during a broadcast will bite you in the ass. So I saw this initially and I thought to myself, okay, this makes sense. What's the controversy? Well, I did not know that the North Carolina High School Athletic Association doesn't use the USGA rules all the time. And a former high school golfer, Quentin Toller, now joining us here on Ovies and Giglio, reached out to me on Twitter. Quentin, what's going on, man? And you explained to me, whoa. It's not just as simple as USGA rules, man. It's a little bit more complicated than that. So what is going on here, Quentin?
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me be on, man. I'm trying not to be too geeked out right now with some legends in the Raleigh area growing up here. But no, I think first things first, I want to get ahead and say I don't think you can rescind anything right now. It would be tacky. It would look poorly. I don't want to be on that side of the argument.
Yeah, sure. Totally get that.
But I think what ends up happening is that we don't follow things to protocol. The USGA lays out scoring operations that could prevent these things from happening. And I think if the athletic association that we get in high school push that onto our coaches, we could avoid this. And I know it can happen because it happened to me. I got disqualified from a tournament in high school at South Johnston. I can kind of go into that if you want, but really it's just what the part that I have the biggest kind of issue with is governing bodies at each tournament have the flexibility to adapt and do things how they see fit, right? Double par max was a rule that our coaches conference did, right? And then there was double par max, and then there was a pickup, right? You would circle the double par, which means you actually had to pick up your ball. You would hit 7 out of bounds or whatever, versus I actually made a double par. I putted in the hole and made an 8. Those governing bodies, which are the coaches at each conference match and then your regional match or whatever, they have the ability to have some play there of what they choose to do. I'm not saying that we should not enforce the USGA rules. I just wish that there was a more consensus that actually followed the scoring procedure that is laid out by the USGA that would completely prevent, maybe not completely, but would prevent what I would consider to be useless disqualifications, scoring errors, math not being added right. Just verbatim from the interpretation of the rules, it lays out how you could do this. And my high school coach did it after my senior year. I got disqualified my senior year. You get 8 conference matches, and I lost one of them. And so I wasn't able to drop that highest score like the rest of the people. I missed all conference by 1 stroke. So obviously I was upset, but there's things we could do differently. My coach has done it since I left South. And it's been 10 years since I graduated. I'm getting up there now. But in those 10 years, he hasn't had a disqualification since. And if these things happen, I don't think Midway has that disqualification. And go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's start at the beginning. for people who don't know, even on the PGA Tour, you don't keep your own score.
Correct. Yeah.
The person you're playing with, you keep their score, and then at the end, you look at your cards together and submit. Correct?
And
even on the high school level.
And you're counting on them to be true. That's the whole point of golf. It's this trust and the idea of being completely truthful with what you're seeing. Although you emailed me and gave me some instances where that wasn't playing out at the high school level, and there are some like shenanigans taking place.
Absolutely. There's 2 instances that stick out, particular, one of which I'll talk about being my sophomore year. We were in a bunker situation. Guy across the green was in the bunker, and I couldn't confirm, but it looked like something had happened with some sand being on his backswing, moving. But I couldn't confirm it. I put it on his shoulders to call it on himself. Golfer B said nothing. He did nothing. Waited until after the scorecards were signed to then present that issue to his coach, which led to a disqualification. And it was a feeling, and I'm not saying, and I'm not going to say it's the, every conference, every, school deals with this, but it's something that I experienced for 4 years. It felt like a weapon of a disqualification by certain competitors. And even to go as far as maybe say some of the coaches knew that, hey, if this was it, you're getting disqualified. And I just felt like in that environment, you never know when strokes come down to it. High school kids, 14, 18 years old, they can be ruthless, and you're putting a lot of trust in them to do it. But I definitely saw it happen, and it affected, my chances of it. But I'm not sure. You can't always approve intent. That's the thing. So the kids knew it, though. They knew that it's a cut and dry rule. You signed the scorecard incorrectly, you're getting disqualified. And I'm not arguing that rule isn't true. I just think there's safeguards we could put in place to protect the kids. That's what I think the association, that should be the motivation there.
When you get to the regional or state level, is there an assigned official for each group, or how does that work? Is it the coaches kind of keeping an eye on the players? Because I know during the regular season, it is truly the honor code, and some people are confused right now, and I totally get that, because the PGA Tour is on TV. All of these events are on TV, and they keep track of the score for you in real time. But with these events, it truly is after each hole, you go to the person who's assigned to keep your score, and you're keeping their score, and you say, hey, what'd you get? Oh, par, bogey. Write it down, get to the end. Usually, I would say 95% of the time, there's no disputes.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty fair to probably, obviously I don't know. And at the state tournament level, it could be different. I didn't get to experience it too much. My golf in high school was pretty mediocre, but I think when you get, for the most part, in every event I saw that I went to, state events, because one of my good buddies played in the state championship, there was no real score. You're depending on that competitor who you're competing against to do it the right way. And I could, I sympathize with the Midway golfer. It's very easy to look at it and be like, oh yeah, you wrote 76 as my total, so yeah, I'll just sign it. The problem is like you said, you should really confirm your score after every hole. And there's so many different avenues you could go. I remember being a freshman and playing with like this older senior guy, and I was like, that was a bogey, right? And he was like, no, that was a par. And I'm like 14 years old, and he's like huge. And I'm really not going to call. I didn't want to cause any issues, but I wanted to push the narrative that I didn't think he was being honest, but I was like, I'm not going to cause any drama. It didn't matter. He shot or whatever, but it does matter. And there needs to be a place for the players to discuss that, and the USGA lays that out. But the sad thing is it doesn't happen at pretty much any conference matches outside of like my coach. I know he does that now, but you don't see it. And obviously, if it happened at regionals, this wouldn't happen. This DQ wouldn't have happened.
Well, Quentin, I appreciate you reaching out. This is the beauty of what we can do now in this new venture, is that, hey, look, I only know so much about golf. You quickly came in and were like, it's not quite like that. And it's proof. It's proof that Twitter can lead to productive conversations. Okay. This was me making a point, getting Quentin on to be like, all right, let's get a better understanding of what's happening on the high school level. And I think a lot of people kind of need to hear this rather than getting into the high level conversations about what rules and what things apply, because at the high school level, it's clearly not the same. Quentin, appreciate it, man. Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, man. If anything comes out of this, I just want them to know, like, I don't know if you guys have kids playing golf or not, but if they lay the scoring out, right, where each golfer met with a coach or a committee member, and went through the holes all together, didn't sign their cards until they confirmed it, they could do this. There's 8 coaches at every conference match, give or take. They could sit down and verify these scores, keep these kids in play, let them post scores. They only get so many. So I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me come and chat with you guys.